From the dawn of civilization, humanity has yearned to move faster, reach further. It began with a single step, marking our first journey into the unknown. From horse hooves thundering across plains, we learned to harness nature's power. To ships crossing vast oceans, connecting worlds that seem forever apart. Steel and steam forged our path forward, machinery breathing life into our dreams. Until railways united nations, iron horses racing toward tomorrow. Then our minds took flight, breaking free from physical bounds. Through mathematics, through science, unlocking the universe's deepest secrets, into digital realms and artificial minds where imagination knows no limits. This is our journey from earthbound dreamers to creators of new worlds. This is Flux, for the people, by the people.
We are live. Davey, how the hell are you, buddy?
Good morning on a
Cheers.
Tuesday
Cheers.
morning.
Cheers. Yeah. It's rainy here. It's kind of dreary. It's a good day. I told Davey said, "Are you ready for this?" I said, "Caffeine, nicotine, and crypto, the American way. Let's go, baby."
That's true. That's literally what he said. I loved it.
Well, I want to welcome everybody to the first of its kind. This is a foundational AMA. Davey, who has, I don't know if he kindly accepted it, maybe a bit begrudgingly, or maybe I just threw him into it, one of those things, has accepted the role to head the foundation, which means Davey's kind of my counterpart on the foundational side. And essentially, he's going to go through today the ideas we have for the foundation. And I have to say, when he did this presentation to me, I was blown away. I said, "Davey, did I not say let's schedule the AMA immediately?" Because this is like, this is heavy hitting shit. Like I love this. And you know, one of the top questions that people will ask is, what's the difference between Flux and Influx and the Flux Foundation? Flux is a decentralized cryptocurrency. Anyone can use it. Anyone can build on it. It is, you know, the Bitcoin of the Web3 world. Whereas Influx is a parent company that builds things on top of Flux. Now, there could be a million Influxes, essentially. But one thing there can't be is one Flux Foundation. So 7 years ago, I sat down and I roughed out the first version of the foundation. And it took us about 7 years to get there, mostly because we didn't have the bandwidth and the time to do it. Davey has graciously taken on that role. We're in a really good spot with the project, with the fork coming up, and so on and so forth. So we felt this was the best time to launch the foundation for the most success for everyone. I mean, essentially, we want to get back to basics, and we want to really focus on the asset itself, Flux. And that's a bit, you know, quite frankly, that's a bit that slipped through the cracks as we've continued to keep growing. Great community involvement. Great, you know, I would say we have one of the best communities in crypto, hands down, without a doubt, blockchain. But I think we need to put more emphasis on, you know, what does the asset do? How does it work? How do people use it? What is the benefits of it? And, you know, how to educate people on it. And Davey has some killer ideas. So a couple little housekeeping items before we get rolling. Please take your time and like and share this, not just on YouTube, but I want you on X as well. We get more people coming in from X than we do anywhere else. X is a little wonky today. They're having problems with in and out. So take the time. If you're sitting there watching this, just go retweet that tweet so it gets out there to everyone. We want to bring as many people in as possible to learn about the Flux Foundation. So without further ado, I'm going to do something that normally doesn't happen. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let Davey take the wheel. Davey, have at it.
I'm going to need a couple minutes just to recover from that comment just alone. Like you're not going to talk that. I want to see that happen.
Okay, I'll try. I'll try not to talk. I'll just be quiet. Right. Have at it, buddy.
Yeah. Give me 1 sec. Right. I'm going to take this off so it doesn't take up much more space. We're going to be a little smaller today, Dan, so that people can see what we have on the screen. We're going to move left and right as we go through the motion here. All right. Welcome to the foundation. With the fork coming along, we basically have an opportunity, and as you guys read the white paper, there was a small fraction of the block rewards that is going to go to the foundation. And I saw people criticizing it. Why do we need a dev fund and all that fun stuff? And a lot of wrong assumptions are made. And if there's one thing that I've learned in business is that the word assume is never a good word to utilize in any context. And we're going to go through that. And we're going to show you guys why that was wrong to assume that was going to be a dev fund instead of a foundation fund. So let's get through it. So the foundation campaign that we're going to kick off is called Back to the Stratosphere. And we're going to show you how we're going to do that right now. So, and I apologize if some of the lettering is a little small. I hope it's actually fine to read. If not, we will be distributing that anyways. for everybody to see.
It looks
public.
pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
All right. This is all public stuff, right? So we're not gonna. Give me one sec here. I got an issue that I have to quickly fix. There you go. So this is all public knowledge. This is all going to be publicly shared. One of the things that the foundation will be doing is everything transparent. So anything and everything. So you'll see some of the things that we have envisioned here. So welcome to our visionary journey focused on community first energy. I'm not going to read everything, but basically the foundation is here to propel the Flux ecosystem forward. And basically the way we're going to do that is by growing the community, by growing the marketing, by growing those who take the time to build on Flux. And we're going to support them as we grow. And basically we are going to support innovation as people build on top of Flux. So why does it matter? Why do we need this little engine, the little engine that could? So we got established in Texas. Thank you, Dan, for taking all that work on. And as per the white paper, the foundation is basically being allocated 0.5 flux per block. That is not a huge amount, but it's essential to what we want to do here and what we want to do with that flux. And we're going to go through the numbers. We're going to go through some of the models that I built out and that I want to present to you guys. And you guys have a voice in all of this. And I'll get to that as well on how we see you guys having that voice in this as well. So annually, we're going to get about 500,000 flux. And we're basically going to use that 500,000 flux that we get in the first year to basically create a stable foundation. That is not that's not a pun, but that is literally what we're going to be doing here. One of the big criticisms that I heard from some of the YouTubers out there and the influencers out there is, oh my God, 0.5 flux going to a dev fund. Do they still need more flux there for all of that fun stuff? Again, that's not what we're doing with this. That 0.5 flux for everybody on listening right now and everybody listening afterwards, that 0.5 flux is never going to be sold. Dan, did you hear what I just said? Because I don't think many people understand what that means. We will never sell the 0.5 flux.
Yeah, essentially, we're working on an evergreen situation where we're not going there. What are the words that you use, Davey?
Well, hang on.
I can't remember. You hit it hard and you said it's like a perpetual foundation. So, yes, the perpetual foundation is focused on the growth of the asset, not the selling of the asset.
Growth by yield, not by liquidation is what I said.
There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, we grow with yield, not liquidation. So instead of just handing out the flux to everybody out there, which would basically create sell pressure, we don't want to do that. So I came up with a completely different model to do grants. It's not commonly done. I don't think I've ever seen it actually being done the way I imagine doing this, but it's going to create growth. And basically we will use the yield to help fund all the grants, all the marketing and all that fun stuff. So that's going to be the key here, is that we don't envision using the 0.5 flux to create a sell pressure. The 0.5 flux is going to basically be utilized, accumulated, so that we can create a proper foundation to help sustain grants going forward into the future. And I did a prediction all the way to 2060, I believe I did. So it's not a short-term vision. It's a very, very long-term vision that we have in mind here. So what are we going to focus on? We're going to help, of course, with developer grants. So this is for people creating things, myself, and then we often get people coming to us with amazing ideas. And it sometimes pains us to say, hey, we can't really do anything for you guys. We can help you host. We can help you get in touch with people, but we can never really give them a real boost when it comes to the financials. And we have to focus, of course, on the project itself that we're building on. So that was one of the pain points. And Dan has been, me and Dan, we've been talking for years now, and this has come up a few times, like how I wish we could do more with these things, but it's always been a hard noggin to crack. So developer grants is one thing. Hackathons, Flux Academy, basically focusing on tutorials, how-tos. I know Geek of All Trades has been doing some cool videos for us. Basically, we're going to focus more and more on that. We're going to do more videos. We're going to incentivize people for doing it. I think it was Tankies that's been doing some videos. I know he did a video on WordPress the other day. These are folks that just spend their time on this. So we want to get more. We want to reward those people. We want to give people something back for their time that they're spending on this. I know they're doing it for the community. A lot of these folks don't expect anything for this, but we want to nurture that. So we want to nurture that with community programs. AMAs, we'll do more AMAs. We want to focus on very transparent back and forth with the community. I know I spend time on Discord. I know Dan spends time on Discord, but the foundation itself wants to be more Loctite with the community going forward as well. And I know we've got ambassadors. I know you see a lot of folks on Twitter, X, and with their country flag. We want to nurture that more. So there's going to be more and more community outreach. And we want to do more blockchain initiatives, like conferences that are purely focused on blockchain. We want to be there. We want to help them as well. I know there's one in Winnipeg coming. One of the community members approached me, but that one is an easy one for me. So I might actually attend that one. And then last but not least, we want to do marketing campaigns from the Flux coin side itself. So we want to basically create visibility, add more adoption to the coin, and the Back to the Stratosphere campaign is the first initiative on all of this. So I even created a roadmap. It's an early days roadmap, so things might still change depending on timings and how easy things get deployed. But basically, we want to formalize the board and its first charter on how we all envision doing this by the end of the year. We will potentially create a first community grant. It might be small at that point because we are working with limited funds from the start. But we want to get the Back to the Stratosphere campaign really hard going by the end of the year. And with that in mind, our first quarter, we would like to get a hackathon going. So if you're in other projects invested and you know these folks do hackathons, by all means, let me know. Maybe I want to collaborate with them. But basically, we want to get the word out that Flux is there to easily deploy on. And with that comes hackathons. Like, people can create cool ideas. And with that idea, we can then help them deploy it on Flux, but we can also help them with an outreach. And we have our community. We have the folks of the potential collaboration folks we work with. They have an outreach. But more importantly, we can also help them now with funds. So if that idea comes to fruition and they want to get that really rolling from project into more of a potential business or whatever, we want to be there to be lockstep with them and help them out. And we want to get them funded going forward. We want to start building out the academy content. So if you have a strong academic side where you feel like, hey, I can teach things, by all means, we'll give you guys links to email myself and the foundation so we can help with that. But we want to get the word out, right? We want to make it as easy as possible for folks to utilize. And big things come of these things, right? So if you have people actively trying it out, trying to work and deploy in Flux, and they run into stumble blocks and you create the guides to get over these things, it also helps the developers, right? If there's a stumble block that we don't see it anymore, and you have to keep in mind, we are in the ecosystem all the time, and we deal with these potential issues that we see as non-issues because we're just used to them. These type of things will bring that to fruition and bring that to the foreground so that we can help them fix these things.
Davey, just real quick, yeah. I wanted to mention too, with the Flux Foundation, these will be free of charge. and you will have a certification coming out the other side. So, our goal is to make this highly available. I recommend everybody signing up for my class, How to Avoid a Shitcoin. I'll be teaching that on a regular basis. So everybody, please take the time and make sure you come to that class because it'll be fun.
Yeah, I even talked to already a bookkeeper, for instance, who's in the crypto space, who will be, who wants to help out with how do you do your bookkeeping, for instance. How do you want to do your bookkeeping in Flux, with Flux, and make sure you're all compliant. Those are all important pieces. 1 sec. Juju, are you having issues?
And I want to mention too that it's the University of Applied Science in Geneva, Switzerland, Alex. It only took me 2 years to get it down, but I got it.
3. It's been 3 years already then.
All right. Well, let's not get down into my new show, okay?
All right, and then we want to reinvigorate the global community ambassador program. I know we have a lot of ambassadors already, and Betty and the team have been helping them as well. But I had somebody already reach out yesterday out of Venezuela to help with being an ambassador for Venezuela. These are the things that I would like to see, and we are going to put our shoulders under that. We're going to help those folks out getting that going. And then in the second quarter, this might be a little too soon, but if you don't set targets, you're never making any targets. So I want to start helping organize regional hackathons. A hackathon can be anything. That could be somebody at a university and we give them an hour time and we help them deploy on Flux. That could be people helping them out in a classroom on WordPress, on web development. It can have all forms and shapes. Whatever your idea is, you bring that to us and we're going to basically try and help you guys out wherever we can. This is not something that always comes from me or the foundation itself. I'm actually expecting the community to help with this as well. And we're basically putting funds aside to help you with these things, right? So it's not just purely the foundation organizing all of this and putting the marketing to work and all that. This kind of comes also from you guys to help, and we help you guys with the funds where needed and where we can. And then after the first 2 quarters, we will also publish the foundation inaugural impact report. So we're going to try and keep track of these things. We're going to try and see what kind of community engagement we've basically helped enabling, the ecosystem growth. We will also be disclosing numbers. So everything we are getting in, how many nodes we stand up, anything we have will be transparent. How much I paid for a DNS, how much, whatever, everything will be logged and will be visible. Right?
Public and highly available.
Yep. So we have a board in mind, and we're going to have to move our heads a bit here, Dan, once or twice, but that's fine. So we'll have a chair. I can move us. Don't have to worry. We'll have a chair. The chair will basically the strategy and the technical part of the things. So, I'll be taking on that for the foreseeable future. The intent, of course, and the reason I plan on doing this to get going is, one, I know the ins and outs of the Flux products. I also know the partners we have within Flux. And also, I think I can be also of assistance when it comes to technical pieces. I've deployed things on Flux myself. I've tested things on Flux. You can ask the developers. I am very mean when it comes to the testing because I always find things that we didn't think of. So that's been my role so far. I've also thought out how we want to do the first bit on the economy from the foundation side, how we want to create our foundation to build on top of all of this. So I've been basically the last couple of weeks been really focused on this, and we'll go through those financials in a bit. Before I go into number 2, let's go first on the other seats. We'll have an enterprise partner voice. I think it's important that we try and find somebody that either is already a partner of Influx or is somebody who's already actively using the Flux coin and the Flux cloud, or the ecosystem in general. I think we need a voice at the table, and this can be instrumental for a couple things. One, they know as well what they're using Flux for. It's also important to know that these guys often have funds or other things available that they can also then help, again, nurture anybody who wants to innovate, who wants to build something, who wants to apply for grants. So this also allows people to kind of voice their concerns from an enterprise side. So basically think somebody from the Web2 side of things who would join us on the board. We would have a finance and treasury professional, somebody who's in crypto day to day, by doing marketing, a bookkeeper, whoever is pretty very much, how do I say that, entrenched almost in crypto, who knows the ins and outs of, on the financial sides, liquidity pool hosting, all of these things, whatever that skill set is, we want to get that on board as well. And then last but not least is a legal and compliance advisor. So as we see the world evolve, we see regulations come online in different countries. We want to make sure we help our folks who apply for grants. We want to make sure that we have somebody on the board that can always lend a hand in any legal pieces. Does that mean he's going to be your lawyer? No, he's going to be there as an advisor, right? So an advisement can be, it's time for you to get somebody who knows these type of compliances. You might want to get a lawyer to look at your coin and make sure you pass certain compliancy pieces. That could be that. And
hold on, David, did you see last night? I told you I'd shut up, but this is kind of important. The SEC and the CFTC have basically said DPIN's out of their scope. That means
that's amazing.
DPIN is basically getting a full sandbox in the U.S., which is absolutely freaking amazing. So I just wanted to bring that up. I forgot about it.
No, and that's thanks for bringing that up, Dan. One of the foundation pieces could be at that point is that when we have this new stuff come out, we'd love to have number 5 basically give us his spiel on that. What does that mean for the space? What does that mean when it comes to legality? All of these pieces are very important as well. And more importantly, what I want to see the board do as well is become an educator, right? It's not just, hey, we're managing funds for grants, we're managing funds for marketing. No, we're managing Flux as a whole. We want to basically also give back to the community. And a big piece of that is education. When I say we want to create the Flux Academy, and when Dan says, hey, I want to talk about don't buy these shitcoins, that's literally what we want to see. We want to have somebody from a finance side say, hey, if as a finance guy, these are the things that I like to look at when I invest in cryptos. These are the things that I want to make sure I keep track of when it comes to tax season. These are the things that I want to make sure that I have in reserve. All of these things, those are very important educational pieces. Of course, always with in the back of their mind, Flux, as that is part of what we're doing here. And then number 2, I kind of skipped over that. The community and governance representative. I want somebody from the community, as much as I'm part in the community, but I want somebody from the community be the voice in the board as well. I think one of the things go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, go.
No. One thing I want to make sure that we make very clear is the Flux Foundation and Influx have nothing to do with each other.
Correct.
None of the people that are in the Influx side of the house, Davey actually is in the process of leaving Influx to move to the foundation. So these are going to be community representatives. These are going to be people outside of our influence. And that way it's not one sole company basically controlling, what's being built on top of Flux. The initiatives will start coming directly from the foundation, which is huge.
I hope that makes a lot of sense for folks. So again, I want somebody from the community at the table. That person will basically act as the community's voice in approval of grants. That also ensures that we have the transparency we're looking for. If I miss something or somebody in the financial pieces misses something, that at least or we don't see the questions being put out, that person in the community can be reached out to and can basically be your local representative, as I like to call it. But he can also push for things, right? I've noticed in the community this is growing, or I noticed the community is bringing forward this idea. What can we do with that? All of these things are very important. All right. So we want to basically, from the ground up, have people have a voice in all of this. By the way, if anybody has questions as we're going through all of this, put them in the chat so that we can answer them later on as well. Okay. So this is basically an overview of all the details. I'm not going to go into that. But that'll be on the slide so you guys can have a better look later on as well. So this is a call to action. So we want to basically have you guys join the movement. So we want to make sure that you're participating in all of this. So we're calling on all the builders, the innovators, the contributors to ignite the transformative journey. That's a lot of nice words. Basically, we want to get you guys going and really nurture anybody having ideas. I've been watching some of the guys creating YouTube videos the other day. I saw somebody playing with, I think it was a Minecraft server that was stood up. These are the things that I really want to see happening more and more, bigger and better. I'm not going to say it, Dan. I know you're thinking it, but we're not going to go the red hat way. But basically, we want to do this by applying the grants, participate in hackathons, become an ambassador, or simply just spreading the message. Anything you can do, even if it's a small thing, I think that is that's, even if we feel like it's a drop in the bucket, every drop in the bucket matters at the end. We want to really get Flux moving. We want to really get that out there. We want to get people talking about Flux again. Influx, and myself with Influx, I think I've done everything I could for Flux on that side of things. I want to really now get focusing on the academy side. I want to really focus on people building on top of Flux, and that's where my passion lays, and I want to really get that moving. I don't know if you met me at any of the conferences, you know the passion I have for Flux. I can talk about it for hours upon hours, and any of the ideas we have. I think I brought people to Influx to help build. A couple of shout outs. Emmanuel came with an amazing idea a couple of years ago. It's been that long already. Unfortunately, we didn't have the funds at that point, but I saw the drive, the passion that he had. Now he's part of Influx, and I think he's very focused on Flux AI these days. He's doing an amazing job on that one. We had Alex. We had others joining. Some dropped off again, but that's okay. Everybody so far that we brought on shares that same passion, and I want to get that into the community. I want to see more of the, hey, this would be a cool idea, and some people grouping up and building it out versus, oh, why are we not doing this? Why are we not doing that? Instead of saying the why not are we doing this, what do I need to do to get this going? I want more self investment into this. I want more active participation, not just talking on a Discord and saying, Flux needs to do this, the team needs to do that. I want more self-governance. I want us to, each and one of us, basically push Flux forward, not just rely on Dan and the team to always do it for us. They can do a lot, and they have done a lot, and I know what's still in the pipeline to come out, and it's amazing. But at the same time, we each and all of us invest in this. A little bit of time on each on our sites will help a lot of going forward as well. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now because I don't like to be on that one. But basically, I want to collect everybody's energy, creativity, the vision, and then basically we can unlock Flux more and more. The foundation is there, the product is there. With Arcane Online, anything can be deployed on Flux and be safe. I've done the compliancy pieces. I know exactly where we are in the process on that part. Anybody can deploy on it now and know it's secure and safe. That is important, and we need to get that message out. So to become part of the board as a community member, we're going to basically do a bit of a democratic process. I'll go into that in a second. But your key responsibilities would be to be the advocate for the community, provide oversight, promote the transparency. So if I fail at something and I'm not transparent on something enough, it's going to be that person's responsibility to hold me accountable to it. And last but not least, strengthen the governance, basically by helping be the voice in the community. You also help with the accountability of the entire foundation project, and then help, of course, help out with the vetting of the grants, be a contact person as well. You'll be provided an email address. You'll have direct access to myself, and of course everybody else. There will be government, will be board meetings, all of that fun stuff will be organized, but with the intent to promote and advocate for the community. So who we're looking for? Somebody who's already somebody very dedicated. That could be a YouTuber, that could be an influencer, that could be a TikTok celebrity, that could be anybody who you think might be worth it. You might think, I've done nothing really, and I don't really voice my concerns in the Discord channels or in the Telegram channels. That's okay. We're going to have a proper process, and then we'll basically be able to, you'll be able to present yourself in front of everybody, what you think your strengths are, that might get you elected to be on the board, and then we go from there. We want to have you be the trusted voice, basically, for everything going forward. So how do we do this? This might be too small now, I realize that, but it is what it is. So we're going to basically open the applications for 2 weeks. You're going to be able to submit your background, your motivation, your vision, and then we're basically going to group those all up, and then we're going to make that public. So if you do share things, make sure you share things that you are willing to share publicly. And then we're going to basically have you present those things to the Discord. We'll set up a time for that, and we'll basically put you on stage, and then you'll be able to present your things. It's not a debate. Just so far, we're not here to fight internally. We're basically just to present ourselves, and then we'll have you pre-vote. Basically, pre-vote will be, we're going to narrow it down as a community to 3 people, and then we'll have them kind of maybe do a debate. We'll see how that goes, and then we'll have those 3 people kind of go against each other, and then we'll do a final vote, and then ultimately a final ratification. So we'll do an XDAO where everybody can vote and say, yep, this is because might be one thing to be in a Discord, but we'll basically give everybody a chance to say yes or no. And then once that happens, you'll be an official member of the board, and we'll set up an AMA. We'll have you again present, and we'll go forward from there. All right, Dan, any questions on your end?
No. Can I nominate somebody now?
Go for it.
I want to nominate Ghosty for the community representation. The guy is a freaking beast. Everybody that knows Flux knows Ghosty. I'd love to see him on that board, Davey. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, then Ghosty will need to apply. I'm not going to put any names forward in this regard. I don't think that's fair. But I guess we know where Dan is going to vote for if Ghosty applies. All right. So the way this approach is taken, I hope this creates a bit of a fair and transparent way of doing this. Yes, Alex, we can do a raffle too, just to put your number in the head and go for it. Yeah, basically we want, and with the XDAO, we're also ratifying it on the chain so that it's official, and then basically we go from there. All right, that was the fun stuff. Now we get into the not so fun stuff. Money. SpongeBob for top ambassador. Oh, that would be fun. I haven't seen SpongeBob in a while. Is he still around? So the Flux Foundation. How are we going to utilize that 0.5 Flux? because that is something that a lot of controversy was causing during the white paper thing. So how does this all work? So the initial allocation is 0.5 flux that we are being allocated after the fork. And then I think we can do a small update of the fork later on as well, right? Yeah, we'll do a small update later. So 0.5 flux, but as per the white paper, we also have 20% allocated for miners on Flux core, because we do want to keep the miners who unfortunately will not be able to mine Flux per se. They'll be able to mine any other coin, but we do want to reward them if they're on Flux core. We want to give them a little bit back. So 20% of that 0.5 is then allocated towards funds for those folks on the miner side. So the 0.4 flux that we get per block every 30 seconds basically allows us to get that in, and then we start working on how we want to build out that foundation. So how are we going to do that? Well, the way we're thinking of doing that is by using those funds to create a backbone or a foundation of Strata servers. So we want to build out the Strata servers to not really compete with the community. We're not going to have a huge amount of nodes at the end of the day. If you do the math, 0.4 flux per 30 seconds a block, do the math how much flux that is on a year. And on top of that, you have to keep in mind that there's a 10% reduction in emissions every year. So our 0.4 drops gradually as well. So
hold on,
rewards,
maybe I want to just throw an announcement out here too. We from the Influx side of the house, we're pleased to announce that to help Davey get to this point and start moving forward, we are donating 600,000 Flux, approximately 15 nodes to the foundation, coming from the Influx team to the Flux Foundation. So hopefully that gets us rolling. I think Davey has some numbers figured in. I don't know if you put in 15 or if you put in 12, Davey, but we are going to do 15 nodes.
That is amazing. Thank you for that. I do have a spreadsheet that I will make available. So I'll open it up. We'll go through that maybe briefly at one point as well. So give me 1 sec. I'll open it up in a second here. I'll put in 15. Yeah, if you know me, I like spreadsheets. So I showed Dan the other day. He's like, "What am I looking here?" It was a lot. So I see somebody already asking, "How does Influx gets funding?" That's not what we're here to talk about today. We're talking about the Flux Foundation here today. Influx is its own company. They do their own thing. So we're not going to talk about the funding on that side. And no, I'm not talking 0.4. It's not 0.5. It's 0.4. So 0.5 is what's allocated to the Flux Foundation, but 20% of that is allocated to. So a fifth of it goes to the miners. So we end up with 0.4. So once we end up all of those nodes, the intent is that those nodes will start generating rewards. And it is those rewards that we will start utilizing for grants, marketing, operations, et cetera, et cetera. And ultimately, we want to keep reinvesting it. So the foundation is never going to be the one creating any sell pressure. That's never our intent. Our goal, our mission is to help nurture innovation, and we basically only grow. Our nodes will only grow, and we basically will stand up more and more nodes that we will then utilize for grants. And we'll go into that in a second here. So our rewards are to be reinvested to cover any operational costs. If we want to attend any conferences, or we want to help with a hackathon, so we want to help with community growth, we're going to have to use some funds, but those are funds that have been generated, not accumulated from the funds that come from the block rewards. So we'll go into that in a second. So thanks to Dan here, my slide is now completely off, but that's okay. Because this was built up with the intent of going from the fork from day 1 to year 5. I have a spreadsheet where it goes all the way to 2060, I believe. But this still holds value at this point. So every 0.5 flux.
Yeah, just anywhere it says how many nodes, so 2 nodes, 12 nodes, 22, just add 15 to that.
Just add 15. Right? So we start with 2 nodes by the end of quarter 4, and we'll have about 12 nodes by September 2026. So, and then add 15 that the Influx is donating. Now, if you feel like donating a node yourself, by all means, we can talk about that. And we'll talk about it a little further on what that actually looks like. That's a different story by itself. So the intent is to just build out from the 0.4 flux that we get, minus the 10% reduction every year. We basically want to just grow a backbone of Stratus nodes. And with the intent that those nodes will then generate the rewards. And with those rewards, we will be paying for everything going forward. So by the end of year 5, we would basically be at about 44 nodes created purely on the 0.4 flux. So that's by September 2030. That seems like a long ways from now, but trust me, that's going to be there pretty fast. That would basically give us about, I think, that gives us to 44 nodes roughly.
Yeah, remember, these dollars and cents are kind of based on the current value of Flux. I mean, if we extrapolate this out to, $4 a Flux or $15 a Flux of Foundation, as it improves, as the Flux price, and I'm not I don't tell you to invest in anything, but I am saying that eventually we will be at a higher level, meaning that we'll have more foundational funds to spend.
Yeah, dollar value.
Dollar value, not Flux value. They'll have the same amount of Flux, but that dollar value increases.
Yeah. I see some questions already appearing in the chat about collateral changes and all that.
I've been starring them, just so you know.
Yeah. Just to quickly touch on it, this is all based on cured specs, current collateral change, current collateral of 40,000. If that ever changes, of course, these numbers then will change as well based on the amount of flux we have. And that will be all transparent. It will all be public, how we will then make those changes. And that will all be a board decision, but of course, with some of the community at the table as well. So this is purely focused with the numbers that I have right now. I know exactly that we get every block. We get 0.5 flux, 20% to the miners, 0.4 flux to the foundation. Every 30 seconds, we get a block. This allowed me to make this calculation. As we stand up these nodes, and thanks then for the initial 15 nodes, because that's a big boost to get this community grant program going. We basically want to allocate from the rewards about 20% going to grants, 20% going to marketing and growth, 20% for operation and wages, 10% for strategic reserves. Let me dive into the last one first. What does that mean? Basically, we want to split up from that reward that we get every month or every quarter. We basically want to allocate some of it to stablecoins, to Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any other coin that the finance guy feels like that is required here. We want to basically diversify some of it. Markets fluctuate; they go up and down, and we want to be in a position that we can always keep this going, right? So we want to build this out smart. We basically want to have something to fall back on if we have to. That's the strategic reserve. That has the intention only to grow, and if that ever gets to be spent, again, that'll be all public. All be visually for everybody to see at any given time. Operation and wages. We have to run servers. We have to pay for people helping them manage these servers. We have to pay for travel. We have to pay for conferences. All of that stuff comes out of that budget. Marketing and growth. We want to help people, of course, when they create videos, when they take the time to do anything marketing wise, if they create articles, if they create anything that is pure marketing, if we engage Influx from marketing, and we want to include Shannon and her team, they create videos for us, anything like that, we'll have to pay for that. If I want to engage Dim for videos, his time, we'll have to cover for that. And then last but not least, the grants and community. But Davey, that's only 20%. How is that even feasible? Well, this is a goal. This is not a fixed target, right? So the grants are going to be a little differently handled than what you normally see. We're not going to be doing a lump sum of money. I got this amazing idea. I'm going to have cars who fly upside down with AI driven on Flux, whatever the idea is, but then you get the money and then you disappear. That helps nobody in this space. Only creates sell pressure, and that Flux is gone, and there's nothing helping. That's not what the foundation is about. The foundation, in the word itself, we want to be a foundation for you as the innovator, for us as Flux, going forward, helping people out. This is how we're going to do this. I showed this to Dan the other day. It just showed the tree, and he's like, what is that? And then I show him the full slide. We want to fund growth with yield, not liquidation. That's our motto, right? We want to help the community. We want to not work against the community, right? We don't want to be in a situation where we're constantly offloading Flux into the markets, and then basically people are going to get upset with us because why is the foundation creating sell pressure? That is here not the intent. So how are we going to actually do that? So we're basically going to do a node-based grant model. What does that mean? So let's say you come up in the hackathon, you win the hackathon, or your idea was one of the best ones out there, and you approach us and the board says, that's an awesome idea. We're going to fund you for 6 months. A lot of costs come into the day-to-day, right? It's helping somebody find a developer, paying for a developer for a couple hours a week. It might not be much you're looking for, but if you don't have the funds or you have to rely on your own funds, it's a bit of a risk you're taking. And the foundation is there to help you out with that. So let's say you win the hackathon. We basically say, we'll give you a Nimbus, or we fund you a Nimbus for 6 months. You get all the rewards for the Nimbus. At that point, you know roughly how much Flux you'll be getting every month or every week, depending on how we work out that structure. And at that point, you basically get a steady stream of income before your product is live, before anything has happened. Also allows you to get your original funding going. And of course, if you have you can get to a proof of concept, you can get your MVP out at least. And if not, if it doesn't work out for you, which can, real world happens, no harm, no foul, nothing done. The Nimbus just gets returned to the foundation because we keep the funds in our possession at all times. And we can then allocate that same Nimbus to somebody else with a great idea and grow again. Basically, only thing that gets spent, if they spend it, that's not even a requirement, is the rewards of the nodes we basically stand up based on that 20% grants fund. That's the number that we're going to basically be utilizing to spend on nodes generating outside of the 0.5 node generation. That's basically the grant solution that we're going to have. So the grant amount is only going to grow. So we start low, and as we get more rewards in, basically the grants nodes basically will keep growing and basically will allow us to basically create bigger and bigger and bigger grants as we grow with the foundation. I don't see many questions on that, so I'm letting that sink in for some folks. But basically, instead of us giving somebody 12,500 Flux with the intent of them setting up a node and then utilizing it, we don't want to see that 12,500 Flux just get sold off, take the money, run with it. We basically want to nurture and help you set that up. That's the intent of this grant process.
Yeah, I'd like to mention one other thing too, real quick, Davey, is the fact that just because you're going, there is another phase of the foundation that is in play as well. So essentially, the foundation will have communication with VCs, small, maybe individuals. For instance, I'm going to use it for instance. Grid is a project that came to us, became a Flux Lab project. Got a little assistance, and in the end, I ended up buying part of the company. That can be extrapolated over the period of 10 or 15 or 20 VCs. So we're going to help you financially to get started, but we're also going to help you for perpetual financial gain. So our goal is not to just give you some Flux and send you on your way. Our goal is to give you the tools and resources that could be legal, that could be financial, that could be whatever it is. But our guidance is essentially what we've done for Flux Labs in the past. That labs now becomes the foundation. So everything's going to move through that foundational arm. And I can tell you right now, Influx has bought perfect, for instance, is Flux Runner. Great product. We bought it. You know what I mean? Like we just bought the product. We brought the team on. We just deployed it, and the rest is history. So I think you'll see more opportunities like that from other players in the space that want to invest in your platforms as well. So our goal is to make it a badge of honor that you've went through the Flux Foundation, which gives credit to almost a vetting process, a due diligence done by the Flux Foundation, that you're going to deliver what you're saying you're going to deliver. And in return for that, we're giving you financial assets, but we're also giving you real tangible operational pieces as well.
Yeah, keep in mind, in the last couple of years, I've made so many contacts. Of course, we have Influx as well, but I've talked with so many people out there. We're going to have folks on the board itself who have contacts as well. So the intent, again, is to nurture innovation. It's to help people with great ideas. And I know there's a lot of folks out there who have ideas, but their biggest concern is, I don't have the funds. I don't know where to start with this. That could be your first email to us. I got this great idea. Where do I get with this? How do I start this off? What do I do with intellectual property? All of these things can be your first email to us, and then we can take that and set up a meeting and go from there. Flux Labs has been working great for a lot of folks out there. We got some really good track record with some of these folks. A lot of these folks organically grew up and did their own thing, and that's awesome to see. But we want to also now be able to give them some funds to really, kick off their project a little better without having to worry about the funds all the time. And that could even be as a young blockchain project. One of the biggest struggles that a lot of blockchain projects have. And hey, guess what? Flux was one of them. Getting that off the ground without any funding, without any backing, or being true to the decentralization side of things is not easy. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of projects out there, young projects out there, who said, yeah, we have funds, but if we drop them on the market, now we're basically selling against ourselves. And that's not helping us, because we're basically lowering the value every time we have to pay our stuff, or our developers, or our servers, or whatever. That's where we come in. That's where we can help. So the foundation keeps its custody on all of these funds. Basically, we allocate a server to you. We'll set that up, and then we go from there. That is the intent, to create you rewards. And with those rewards from those servers, you can do what you want to do with your project. Of course, you're not just gonna walk up to us and say, hey, I want to do this. Here's funds, go have fun. We're basically going to talk through with you guys. Why are we allocating this funds? What do we feel is what you think is needed? And then the board will then decide how much we'll actually allocate. But there will be stipulations, right? If you say, hey, we want 6 months of funds. Okay, what have you built so far? Halfway, where are we with that? At any given time, if we feel like it's not being held, or both sides are not holding themselves accountable for things, again, the foundation will have custody on those funds. So we can do that for 6 months, a year, 5 years. That's all being, you can all discuss that. But with project milestones and the impact of those milestones. And collateral redeployment. So at the end of the terms, the foundation can reclaim those node collaterals, and then we can redeploy them into Strata servers or other Nimbus servers. And again, support new grants and new innovation. It is constantly growing with the intent to have more and more grants, funds available for larger and bigger ideas as we grow. So why is this important? So there's no direct dumping risk, because we're not just giving away the Flux. We're basically growing ourselves. So it is basically the upside of this is that as we grow as a foundation, as we grow with the innovation on the grants we hand out, when those grants then come back, we grow again, and we can basically compound and the impact that we have to the ecosystem as we grow together. Because of the node rewards, we basically create a predictable runway of funds going forward. You know exactly how much, roughly at least, how much Flux you're going to get, and the amount of nodes in the network does fluctuate. But you have an idea at least that you're going to have, let's say, 1,000 Flux roughly a month. At least you know roughly what you're going to be able to spend. And then how you spend that money or that Flux, that's then again on you. You can stand up your own nodes and help basically create your own foundation as you grow with your project. That's up to people themselves on how they want to do that. They're scalable. And we can set you up with a Nimbus for 6 months. And after those 6 months, hey, our MVP is successful. We want to build it out now. Well, then let's talk again. Maybe we stand up a Strata server for you now for a year and help you going forward with your funds. We can bring in other people, other investors as well, because you hit a milestone that will definitely trigger some visibility to your project. And then at that point, you can actually have other types of investors going. You can think of a family raise or a Series A raise, whatever you want to do at that point. We can help with that as well. And then enhanced accountability. So if, unfortunately, the milestones are not met, that is not with the intent of that's not a malicious intent or whatever. Things happen. We see that every day ourselves, myself, and then we come with ideas. Time is not available, or something else happens, or something else requires attention. Things happen. Totally get it. So with that in mind, at that point, no harm, no foul. We basically just get we basically reallocate the funds at that point to a different project, or you then just say, hey, we want to restart it, and we basically go through the motion again. This is basically just an overview again of what that would look like. A short term, for instance, could be a pilot project, a hackathon winner. We allocate you a Nimbus to get your initial development going. Medium could be somebody wanted to stand up a course. I know, well, that's a crazy idea. Why not give somebody funds to help him instead of you spending your own vacation time, you taking time away from work, because setting up a course is a time-consuming thing, but we can help with that. We can help you fund some of the time lost, or you need hosting, or you need to pay for stuff online, or you need compute power. Hey, let's say you want to create something AI-wise, or you want to run something on Flux Edge. These things cost money, right? You're renting somebody from the community's computer. At that point, we can help you with allocating some of the funds, right? So it's not.
Yeah, and about that, Davey, I have another one for you. I personally will cover all the bills for any project that goes through the Flux Foundation for their infrastructure. So if they need a Flux AI, if they need Flux Drive or whatever, I personally will make sure they get everything they need. And I'm going to do that for 2 years. So for 2 years, I will personally cover your deployments on the network.
That's big. Thank you. And then the long-term vision, if you have an AI project you want to build out, and you need some more funds for that, then we can basically start allocating multi-stratus servers and all that. Now, we are limited on the budgets we have, right? It's not like we can just go and splurge now and say, hey, you get a Nimbus and you get a Stratus and you all know the Oprah meme. That's not going to happen, right? We are limited in funds from the get-go. And thank you, Dan, for the original 15 notes. That's really going to kick us off with some extra funds. But it will still require us a couple months before we can actually really start handing out the big grants here. So just keep that in the back of your mind. That's it in a nutshell. So build a future at Flux. We see the community as a partner in this. I want to get the community involved in this. So join us. Basically, I put the email address out. If you want to contact us, grant, ambassador, ideas, anything you have, you can basically plop that in there in an email and send it to us. We also opened up an X account. If you haven't seen that yet, it's called @Flux_Foundation. Feel free to follow that. Of course, we're here to nurture any of the Flux initiatives that are happening. So we'll basically be retweeting and pushing things, of course, that Influx does. But if you're a project yourself or you're a Flux Labs partner, anything we do will basically give that our full attention and help with that as well. So if you want to be involved in the Flux Foundation as a community member, as a spokesperson there, that's awesome. If you have people that you know that could be of value to the foundation in any of the other aspects, as a crypto advisor, as a legal advisor, as an expert in Web 2 who wants to help push Web 3 forward. If you have people like that you want to introduce us to, by all means, send them our way. I would love to see that. Now, what does this look like financially? Because that's something I guess a lot of people are kind of curious about. So I'm not going to bore you too much with a spreadsheet, but at least to give you a bit of an idea what we're looking at here, what this all looks like. So let me share the 2030 projection here in a spreadsheet. So give me 1 second.
We're going to post all this on
this will all
Discord as well. The deck and the spreadsheets and everything, so you guys can beat it up and ask questions too after that.
All right. I hope you guys can actually see this properly. Maybe I should do us little heads again. Might help. Hope it's visual for everybody. So, a fun exercise in math, everybody's favorite topic. So Dan, I just added your start notes in. So again, thank you, Influx, for helping with that. There's some parameters in there that go with some assumptions. The Stratus nodes on the network. Currently, that's about 1,400 nodes. If you hear my cat in the background, he's having his zoomies, so apologize for that. Current price of Flux, and then the amount of start nodes that we have. So I added 15. Again, Influx, thank you for that. So let's go through it. So what we have here is the years, the quarters. Everything is divided up in quarters, so to kind of keep track of everything. And basically, this allows us to kind of track how much Flux we will be generating, how much we can allocate to more nodes, and then at the end, how much rewards those nodes roughly with the current numbers will generate. That last bit fluctuates, right? We don't know how many rewards we'll be getting at any given time. That depends on the amount of nodes on the network. Do we have less? We'll have more rewards, but that's for us is an incentive to go after more and more people to fund, to stand up more initiatives so that we can see the amount of nodes grow. Again, the intent of the Flux Foundation is to grow our ecosystem, right? We are here to push forward everybody involved, going from the node operators and going to folks hosting on the network. Because keep in mind, with the progressive node rewards coming online at one point as well, we're going to be anybody who's hosting nodes on the network will be extra incentivized that way as well. So we want to that we have in our power to push forward the project. So what does this all look like? So we know roughly if we start on the quarter, if the fork would happen on the 1st, I think that's tomorrow already. This would be our Flux at the end of the year. But I can make those adjustments. As we know for sure when the fork happens, I can adjust the days in the quarter, and then we'll see the numbers change a little bit. But if we go with the assumption that by the end of the quarter, we would have about 130,000 Flux. We allocate 20% of that Flux to the miners. That amount will accumulate as the guys build out how they want to distribute that. I already talked with Alex a couple times, talked with Jeremy a couple times about this, but we haven't set that in stone yet. So we'll basically accumulate that as we create a fund for the miner allocation. But that allows us about 105,000 Flux to invest in nodes. So we estimate basically by the end of the quarter that we will have the ability to stand up 2 nodes. And nodes will be stood up at the end of each quarter, just to kind of keep the transparency going. And then we can also announce all of these things so that folks can follow that along. So that'll basically, we spend about 80,000 Flux there. We'll have about 25,000 Flux unspent. Maybe spending is the wrong word, uninvested, I guess. And then that 25,000 rolls into the next quarter. As we get more 0.5 Flux in, we then will be able to stand up 3 nodes in that quarter, 2 nodes in the next quarter, and so on and so on. You can follow that along. With the intent, of course, that by the end of the road, we'll have a good set of nodes as a backbone for everything going forward. So you can see our miner reserve grow, because that's also predictable, because it's all tied to the block. And do notice that we do calculate in the reduction of the rewards. So we basically have that all calculated in. So our growth Flux as the years go on, we'll get less and less per block in. That's okay. Again, this is our backbone that we're building out. This is not Flux that we're spending our Flux on. This is just to grow. But as we grow, we will start getting rewards in.
Now, this is my favorite part of the spreadsheet. Go back to the top, Davey.
Which one do you want to see?
All right, right there. Now where it says Flux price, you build these kind of models in your down cycle, and I think we all agree we're pretty much in a down cycle. I wouldn't say across the board, but most of blockchain. So let's change that number, Davey, to $1.50.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll obviously see the monetary value increases quite a bit. Let's take it to the ATH at like 375.
Oh. Now,
where's the dollar amount at on here?
I'm going to get to that right now. What I want to emphasize first is this does not affect the node buildup, right? So the funds themselves, we keep building up. The price does not affect that. But what it does affect is at the very end. So our amount of dollars rewards
increases dramatically. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if I can give you, with this price, for instance, if I can give you a Nimbus server, I don't know what the value is, or what you get roughly. I can actually see that. I created this cool application for that, actually. One Nimbus. With about 2. So that currently generates about 389 Flux. One Nimbus. With the second one. So do the math. All right. What is it? 390 times 3.75? I'm going to use a calculator. I'm not going to do this by heart. 3.75. It gives you a budget of $1,500 a month.
Yeah, nothing to sneeze at. That's for damn sure.
Right. So that's the intent here, is that, but at the end of the day, this grant community, and I actually added a column here for everybody to see, our grant population just goes up. So by 2030, at the end of quarter four, we'll have 200,000 Flux in grants accumulated. So that's dedicated grant Flux to stand up nodes for folks to utilize. Now, keep in mind, anything we don't spend in the marketing or in the wages piece, we can also allocate to the grants, right? The intent is to not spend, the intent is to grow, right? We don't want to liquidate, we want to yield and build on that yield. So everything we can set aside, we basically will help grant out more grants. That literally quite it. So as we grow, this will go up, and everybody will be able to see at what point, how much is currently allocated to folks. They'll be able to see how much we have accumulated in grant funds. So anything that we don't spend, we will be able to do all that. Again, transparency is going to be very key on this, all of this. So our first quarter, and I keep saying this, but I should have actually dropped this line, one line here, because again, we stand them up at the end of the quarter. So in 2026, we'll have a budget of 5,600 Flux for grants. Well, I can hear everybody already thinking, well, that's not going to get us a Nimbus going. No, but we'll be able to get you a Nimbus going after the second quarter. We'll be able to get to a Stratus at the end of 2026. Right? So we'll basically grow this out. This is not a quick process, but this is also a thought out process. This is it's more like what's the story, the tortoise and the hare. This is kind of us being the tortoise, but with the long-term vision, we're going to win with this. This is us putting money back to the community where we can help with innovation. That's the plan here. And I would love to see that price then at one point. I'll be very honest. All right, I'm not going to do too much math here, so we'll share this with the community so you guys can take that on and play with it and find my math skills being horrible and point it out. By all means, go for it. I don't care. If I made a mistake, I'll gladly know it going forward. Right. That was it on the presentation part. Let's take some questions. We're already an hour in. Time flies.
Oh, Kaiser's basically talking about. Kaiser will be helping out with the foundation as well. He's basically stating the reason for separation from Influx to Flux is that we at Influx have no influence. Or I mean on the foundation. It's its own entity. That's the way it has to be. So good point. How will the community members be chosen? We talked about that. So it's through a nomination process. Davey will share that deck later today too.
Yep.
Reach out to colleagues for speaking events on people's majors and business economics. Yeah. Through the, I think he's talking about the Flux University scenario where we have, and we'll have our partner projects speaking there as well. So I think it's not just about Flux, it's about blockchain holistically. So, you could see a company like Rise that we use for our crypto payroll. So they could come on and tell you how that's taking over the industry, and they're kicking ass and taking names with that. So that's something we'll do as well.
Yeah, I've got a accountant already who wants to, not an accountant, a bookkeeper. He always makes me differentiate. He's a bookkeeper, and he actually helps me out with my bookkeeping when it comes to crypto. But he also wants to. He created a course to help folks out on how he does it. So we'll have him do a presentation. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we can do together. But again, the emphasis is on innovating, educating, and with funds that we can reallocate going forward. What's the plan to attract new blood students? New blood students. Wow, we're not gonna blood the students. Young developers and entrepreneurs into the ecosystem. Well, that's the fun part. Instead of asking me the question can also be put back to you. Like, how do you guys see this happening? Right. So it's not just us coming up with all the ideas and us coming up with the campaigns. We want to, that's part of what this campaign is right now on our side is that we want to give folks the initiatives, right? We want to help you build it out. It's more of a call to action to the entire community than it is to Influx, it is to the developers, it is to the foundation. We are here to help grow. We'll help you with funds where we can. We'll help you with guidance where we can. We'll help you with knowledge where we can. But we also want you guys to step it up, right? I know, Ali, I think I might be wrong, but I think you're the one of the people that I actually follow on Twitter. I see you put up a lot of tweets regardless, right? That's the way forward, is we want to give you guys the means to really push Flux. I see a lot of people on Discord.
Hey, Davey, can you move our heads? Because right now we're behind the.
Oh, we're behind everything.
Yeah.
There we are.
Hey, there we are. It kind of looked weird because you could just see.
I was on my other screen still.
I have a hell of a forehead. You don't want to see that. You know what I'm saying?
Same here. But you can ask Caroline. And every time because I actually have muted the marketing launch at this point, because I was kind of done with folks walking in there that maybe the first time or the second time they ever talk in the Discord, and then the thing that they come is like, oh, why are the devs not doing more, or why is this not happening, or why are we not doing this? One, Influx as a team is growing and they're building things out and they're focusing on marketing and they're focusing on other pieces as well. But you can't have everything in the hands of all in one central point. Like that works, but it's kind of made us a lot compliant. A lot of us are very compliant now with, hey, Influx, do this, do that, go do this, go to this conference, go to that conference. And that's not okay, right? The guys have limited time. There's only 24 hours in a day, and we do want them to sleep a couple hours sometimes, not all the time.
It's overrated.
Yeah. Well, we give them caffeine as much as we can, but at one point they do crash. So we have to be a little cognizant on that. And the guys are going to conferences. I went to conferences. I went to last year. Dan, I think I was home for not even half a year. I was gone all the time.
We all were. Yeah, today is just in Singapore right now. We sneak in the back door. We like that better than necessarily having a booth because we get to kind of peruse everything, and we're not. But there will be. I mean, you guys have seen we have a pretty killer setup for our when we do our activation, our on-site activations, and you're going to see more of those. And mostly coming from the foundation and in partnership with Influx. We see an opportunity. Now, it doesn't mean Influx doesn't do anything for the foundation. It just means we have no influence over whatever's being done. Like my goal eventually, and I'll tell everybody, my goal eventually someday is to hand Influx off to, the next generation and rejoin the foundation and continue to keep growing this thing for infinity and beyond. And Buzz Lightyear and shit. We all have our the one thing that is a common thread in the entire team is the long-term view. We don't look at anything in the short term. We look at it all in the long term. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, we're just wiping our hands and walking away. But Davey has a very valid point. If we want to keep continuing to get the products that we are at this level and at this frequency, we need to ask the community to step up and be participatory in this, because nothing pisses me off more than when people come in and bitch about the lack of marketing, but have literally done fucking nothing to help with it. Make some tweets, make some videos, get incentivized with some Flux. I mean, these are all things that if we're truly a community, like we state we are, and we are, then we need the other side of the fence to make sure that they pick up and run with it. So, a lot of cool stuff can happen, specifically around like site activations, events, marketing and PR. And Davey's right. We're constantly on the go. We might not get the pomp and fanfare around it, because we usually have things that we particularly, today she went to Singapore for really one particular reason. Now he's going to enjoy his time down there, and he's going to, chat with everyone. But, the bottom line is we look at where the best value is for us.
Yeah. Will you see Flux everywhere at one point now? Not right now, right? I showed you the financials. We're going to have to be cognizant on how we spend. But we do want to get to the point where we can say, okay, there's a consensus conference in Hong Kong, right? Who in the community is in Hong Kong? Who wants to be there? We'll help you with a ticket or something like that. We can do all of these things with the foundation, but again, with the intent to help grow, right? It is there to grow forward. And every Flux spend, notice I didn't say dollar, but every Flux spend will be transparent where that goes to. All right. So we're going to really try and build out the community. We'll help the community with funds. And we saw the financials. What the budgets are to start off with. And I want Dan, thank you again, because I know 600,000 Flux is nothing to sneeze over. That's a lot of funds that Influx is basically taking away from themselves. So I really appreciate that to help us with the original start. 0.5 Flux to a lot of people is either a lot that's being allocated in the block reward, and other people are like, that's not a lot at all. I can tell you, you see the numbers, you know exactly what the projected growth is. We know, at least I'm trying to find a stable path forward that can really help with the nurturing of anything innovative. And this helps everybody in that space. You want to run a WordPress site to help your idea, to get the idea out, talk to us. You want to build out a new product, talk to us.
Do it for free. Do it for free.
Yeah. And Dan will help you with the original thing.
We're helping you. We're helping you. This is the pickaxes and shovels of the gold rush, guys. We're willing to give you what you need to make it happen. And that's a big thing. And I credit Davey immensely for the forward-thinking process that he's had in this community and how we protect ourselves. So one of the questions from Ollie is, how do we ensure the foundation doesn't become too centralized, acting as a traditional corporate board? Excellent question, Ollie. You want to take it?
Yeah. That is so. That's why I wanted to get from the get-go. Want to be clear is that that's why I want community involvement, right? Also, I want to get into the fact that we want to include transparency. So anything that Flux, the foundation, gets in from the block rewards, we're clearly transparent, showing that. We'll show the Flux address that gets allocated to this, so you guys can follow along. Any addresses that we generate to stand up the nodes, either for us as a foundation or for the grants we're handing out, all of that will be transparent. We're also thinking of doing limited times in being on the board. We'll have a charter laid out. The charter will, by the way, be voted on in an XDAO. Yes, you guys have the voice in this. So if we say this is not what we feel like, let's say the government, the charter is something you guys don't agree to, you'll have a voice in that. You'll be able to vote in that. Yes, no. But the last thing that I want to see is, of course, that we are a centralized entity.
XDAO plays a big part in this, guys.
Yes.
The whole reason why we moved to the XDAO 2.0 post-fork, and by the way, that needs to be updated, Davey. We need to fix that at some point. Remove the mining aspect of it. But what this does is allows, so I wouldn't say micromanagement, but some management pieces to come from the community. So we built this from the ground up. Davey built this from the ground up to ensure that it relied on the community for its direction moving forward. And that's through the XDAO. XDAO is going to be much simpler, much easier to use in the future. That's what it comes down to. You have to build it out of the gate like that. So we're taking something that's already worked for us, which is the XDAO, and we're rolling that into the foundation, and it just makes sense.
Part of the charter could be, for instance, that any large grants that we, let's say, so as soon as we head to a point where we can start handing out multiple Strata servers, part of that could be that it becomes part of the XDAO, where we say, hey, this is the project that we want to help fund. This is how that would look like. This is how much they're looking for. And then we can put that forward in an XDAO. This is what the foundation thinks is a good idea. And then we vote on that. Does that mean that it can be voted out? Absolutely. If the community says that's a really bad idea, we should not be spending our money on, then we don't do that. Going forward, that's it. So what does a successful Flux Foundation look like in 2026? As per the roadmap, I want to get to a point where we see education pieces coming up, right? We're not going to be in a position yet where we're going to be able to really focus on grants in 2026. That's going to take us a bit. Maybe 1 or 2 Nimbus nodes at most. But I want to see, for me, success will be standing up by the foundation by the end of the quarter and seeing the first academy pieces coming out. Being able to show what we're doing as a Flux Foundation, where could be videos, could be courses, Flux Labs partners that we want to onboard. I've noticed that there's a bit of a lull in crypto when it comes to new projects coming online. Want to help nurture that. So anything we can do to push forward crypto and Flux, in my book, is a success story already. But let's wait after the first 2 quarters, what that looks like, what we actually achieved. And just so you guys know, I hold myself accountable as well. If you guys feel like I'm not doing a great job at this, by all means, vote me out. I'll put that on paper right now.
I'm not going to offer the same thing because they'd have me on the rail immediately.
Well, that's a different story. And I know I don't have. I know that I have my haters too. But again, I want to basically. I'm putting my shoulders under this. I want to build growth. I want to help innovate. This is what we're going to have to do going forward.
When is the growth rate in the coin itself? So ultimately, there were 2 major pieces that had to happen we had to get to V2 of proof of use of work. That reduces admissions. It reduces the mining. It puts the hands back in the power of the people that are providing the useful work model. So my recommendation is to come up with your own number where you think it would be a value, because I think that we're probably going to exceed that number quite quickly. I think we've taken the right steps for attention to the asset itself. So, and we'll continue to keep growing that.
Part of what my idea came from here is actually based on, you guys might have seen this guy before. He leads NVIDIA. But why is NVIDIA so powerful and successful at this very moment? It's not from the last couple of years. They worked on a foundation a decade ago, and their foundation was education. Their strength right now is because everybody got taught how to use CUDA in high school, or in the, not in college or uni. No, in high school they were taught to use CUDA. So everybody growing up, eventually graduating, starting their businesses, knew CUDA for gaming and AI, compute, anything. Going forward, now everybody's using CUDA because of that foundation they built. I want to get the same vision for Flux. I want to get people to get comfortable deploying on Flux, get comfortable to be in home that run on Flux.io. And as much as it can look daunting, I can tell you right now, it's a lot easier now than it used to be 3 years ago. You have all the bells and whistles right now to see how your Dockers are operating. You have all the bells and whistles to see how your website is running. The Flux Foundation website runs completely on Flux right now. Built with Flux AI, built with some pieces in Flux Edge that I rented. It's completely running on Flux right now. So it took me a day or two to build that entire thing out by myself, nobody else involved, just me and Flux products, and then ultimately running it on Flux itself. That's the strength that I want to get everybody at. I want everybody to get to that comfort level where they can do all of these things. Fully electric.
Yeah. FK, we need like a video to see how miners get rewarded using Flux Core, like the process of the setup to earn. Sounds like a job for Geek of All Trades. And Shannon, if you're still on the live stream, put that as his next video, because I do think that is important.
Well, absolutely. I love that more professional YouTubers create videos as this as well. But again, it's a call to action for everybody out there. And I know Tanky was one of them. I might be mispronouncing his name. But he put time and effort, and I think he did some WordPress videos and how-tos. I think he did a really good job of that. But he was also not 100% certain, right? He's like, I did this. Was this the right way to do this? So he came to me. And Tanky says, here, hey there. So that's also why I wanted to, I brought him in touch with Ali, who has been working on WordPress, for instance, on Flux. That's kind of also what we do. We help and guide where we can. So if you want to build stuff out and you run into issues or you run into questions, you reach out to us and we'll help you out. How does Influx get funding?
I can cover this. We like to answer everybody's questions. I just kicked it to the end, Davey, because that's a good, it is a good question. Influx has been built as kind of a standard business model. So essentially we have revenue generation that comes in, and we have a host of products that help to generate revenue. The majority, 99% of our funding has been bootstrapped, meaning the founders have put in their hard-earned dollars and cents to continue to keep building. The other area we make money is we run nodes as well. Just like you guys are doing it, we're doing the same thing. You know, there's a ton of value add there. Influx in the next probably year will be doing a Series A raise. We feel that we're probably at the time where it makes sense to get Influx in front of VCs. So we've been talking with a few large players in the space who are very excited about our Series A. So there'll be more information about that as we grow. It is what it is, guys. You have to have a business model behind this to make it go. We've been very good stewards of our resources. So we've saved our pennies for our Flux. And we've been able to essentially create perpetual funding inside of Influx as well with our node distribution and so on and so forth. So we're doing it just like you guys, and anybody can build an Influx. I highly recommend you do go out and build your a perfect, for instance, again, and I'm going to use Grid, is Grid didn't put all their eggs in Flux. They actually partner with Akash and Flux to build their product out. Make your business model. Grid is probably one of the only companies I see developing on the platform. And right here, this is Benjamin, who's we created the first ping consulting firm in South America, specializing in cloud consulting, cloud management, and help desk services. This is huge. And these guys did it all on their own. I mean, yeah, they got some seed money from me or angel investor money from me, but these guys are bootstrapped and building it on their own. So I highly recommend other companies go out and do the exact same thing that Influx has done, and that's build the products. Build the products. Start, get a couple dev buddies together, create an LLC, and start building. I highly recommend it, because having one kind of for-profit company, and now we have the nonprofit entity that's the foundation, is great. I'd like to see 1 million of these over here, and one of these. So that's the ultimate goal. All right. So I hope that answered your question.
All right.
Hold on. We still got some to go through.
Will Davey still be very active at Flux, Influx, and Discord? Flux and Discord, yes. And I'll slowly transition out of Influx going forward.
He'll still have a direct line of communication with us. In other words, he'll be in our We have a product that we use for our CRM and so on and so forth. So he'll still be part of that. But his sole responsibility is to have that level of autonomy separate from us, so that there's no influence coming from the for-profit company, that would influence the nonprofit entity.
Yeah, I don't think I said any of that. Flux Foundation is a nonprofit organization, just so everybody is aware. So we're not here to make a big profit. We're here to help fund. So big difference.
Yeah, nonprofit formation was in Texas. Texas has some very, 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 very favorable regulations around nonprofit entities. I imagine someday at some point we'll probably have a physical location down there, maybe in the long-term future. But we're planting our roots firmly in the U.S. right now. As a matter of fact, Influx, the parent company, that runs the for-profit, has already transferred open headquarters in Florida. So, we're going to continue to keep focusing on the U.S. market, because the way we see it, it's probably going to cascade out to other folks. I mean, you just saw the UK partnered with the US on crypto regulations. That's going to be a big deal. So I think being here is the most logical sense for both the foundation and for the for-profit company as well.
All right. Maybe we should touch on the fork as well, Dan. I think a lot of folks are probably hoping to get a bit of an update on that as well.
Yeah, so the coding's essentially done. So we are in testnet phases right now. We've been testing it for the better part of 2 weeks. We don't see anything major. If you haven't seen Jeremy in like 2 weeks, and that's mostly because he's at his desk coding nonstop. Today-ish has been working on it as well. Vulture's right in there in the mix, making it all happen. I feel very, very, very confident by saying that I think October 15th will probably be where we target to go live with the fork. Now, don't quote me on that, and it could be a few days before or a few days after. I don't know. But the 15th at this point, when I brought that date up to the team, they all pretty much nodded their heads that they feel they can be ready for that. So the next question is, why did we prolong it after the 2 million for height, blockchain height? Mostly because we wanted to make sure this thing was flawless. And there are a lot of dependencies that you don't necessarily see until you really start to get down to the code and understand exactly what those dependencies need to be. So our goal is to make this transition as smooth as humanly possible. I would say set your sights for the 15th. There will be a more formal announcement coming probably next week, exactly the day and time. And we are going to have an event specifically around that fork. So, it's going to be a community event. We're going to stream it live. We're going to have some fun with it. And we're going to celebrate, because ultimately this is what all of us have been working for the past 8 years to build: a full proof of useful work platform. So that's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Beachbum actually asked a really good question, and I'm actually prepared for that question, because I actually asked the same thing to Jeremy yesterday. So once the selling pressure from miners goes away, what is the protection for Flux as a crypto? So I'm assuming, and I hate using the word assuming, but I'm assuming you mean guarantees the protection of the network. So as Dan alludes, it's the proof of use work version 2 that we're doing. It's the nodes themselves who will be hashing the next block. So that's also the reason why it takes a little longer. We didn't have much time after the XDAO to say, yeah, good to go. Let's build the fork to now and have it all tested and all that fun stuff. As much as we like to innovate and be a little cypherpunk at times, we have to be careful, of course, when we launch a fork. So the guys have been testing nonstop. And if you would be able to see Jeremy at this point, let's just say that he has some wild hair going at this point because of the time he's spending on all of this. But the way it works is the nodes themselves. So any node on the network will be basically hashing. It won't be resource intensive, of course, because that's not the intent of the nodes. But the nodes themselves will basically produce the blocks going forward. So it's that's the change that's happening. One cool feature, by the way, and I don't know if you guys have been following the GitHub, But a lot of folks out there, including myself, we don't always have time to babysit our notes. And we
Davey's gonna leak something.
I'm gonna leak something.
Leaky Dave.
Or do you want to do it, Dan?
No, have at it, dude.
It affects you as much as it does me.
I do it all the time. You do it.
Yeah, but basically, a lot of folks use third parties to host their notes and trust them with that. And these guys do a good job, for real. But a big problem that I always had, especially when I was traveling last year, is when you're not home and your note goes down for whatever reason. That could be Flux doing an update that we're not ready for, or your ISP goes down, or you have a nasty thunderstorm like we had last night. It was a dry thunderstorm, Dan. Not often that happens, but it was a dry thunderstorm, like lots of lightning but no rain. And then power goes out, but you're out of the country. You're somewhere else. You're not at home. Whatever. You're on vacation. Now what? Well, there's a new thing coming online, and that will help a lot with this, and it's called delegates. You'll be able to assign a delegate to start and stop your node.
Which is a big deal, because node management companies and all that kind of stuff is, you need that. You need that. And that will work in both Zelcore and SSP as well.
Absolutely. So you'll be able to, let's say you use one of the third parties, you'll be able to give them a key so that they can start your node whenever you feel like, or whenever you're not available. It allows them to just do maintenance, wait for the last reward, fire it back up after they're done, or it goes offline. It allows them, or it basically stops them from having to email you, wait for you to then fire it back up maybe days later, and then the conversation, the discussion that happens on but I was paying for this week that I was not offline, who all of that goes away. They'll be able to manage it properly going forward. Yet your funds are safe. They can't do anything with that. It's just purely to help you start and stop nodes. I think that's a big win for the community, and it's a lot of responsibility that we not take away, but we enhance the node operators, the node providers at this point. So that will be a big win for the network itself. All right, more questions.
Hold on, let me see here.
Normally I'm the one bringing up the questions. This is a little different than.
Since miners are not selling node operations are holding to build more coins, do you think that will create buying pressure and therefore increase price? It doesn't hurt. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think the thing that's going to increase the value or the price of Flux is the fact that people start to realize how much money they're making on Flux nodes, because it basically doubles, around the V2. So I think it'll speak for itself, but I do believe that, there will be less selling pressure. Absolutely. I think there would be more buying pressure if I had to guess.
Yeah. If you're wondering what V2 looks like for you, I'll put a link into this in the chat. Where you can then see, let me do that right here. So you can see what your node produces right now, and then you can actually compare it to, in a second scenario, you can kind of see what it looks like after V2. You have
the ability to adjust the pricing structure?
No.
Like if Flux goes to $1, this will projected?
No.
That'd be cool to add.
Yeah, I saw that in the French community as well. Donc, je vais changer ça. I'll change it. To add that as well. So that was a request that already came in. So I'll make sure that you can put the price in however you like. And I think the current price is from CoinGecko, from an API there. So, all right.
That has been a marathon. We've been going for almost 2 hours. This is by far broke the record for the most concurrent streamers ever. We're well into the 7,000, which is pretty damn amazing when you think about it. A lot of people are interested, and that's really awesome. So we appreciate you. So what I recommend now is to go back to X, make a post specifically around what you saw today and what you're thinking is going to be amazing, or what's going to suck and needs to be looked at. Any attention in marketing is always good attention. So even if you're debating it and one of us guys have to come in and, go back and forth with you, it creates attention. So make sure you're doing that. A bit Beach Bum, that probably asked that in Discord. So without, I just want to say a big thank you to Davey on this. This was a daunting task that I asked him to do. It has made my life much easier because I'm able to rely on somebody that's going to guide that foundational piece. That's been a dream of mine for the better part of 6-7 years. So for the very first time, we're starting to see the last items that we've promised. We're like the Lannisters. We always pay our debts, right? You guys wanted a DEX or a exchange. We built that. You guys wanted the node infrastructure. We built that. You guys wanted multiple multi-asset platforms. We built that. We pay our debts, and this is a debt that we've owed for the better part of 7 years. And I'm super excited that Davey's leading the charge in that. I look forward to lots of community involvement. And, Davey, is there anything you want to add for closing?
Well, I think you're selling yourself a little short there as well. There's a Coinbase thing that happened this week as well. I never thought that would happen. So congrats on that. I know you spend a lot of your time on these type of things as well. Dan sells himself always very short. The team actually does altogether. I can speak a little bit now more as an outsider as well. The guys put a lot of work and effort into this. For the last 3+ years that I've been really active with these guys, it's nonstop. If you go on the channels, it might be 7 p.m. on a Saturday night. There will be people talking and working on things. You might be in the middle of the night, my time zone, then you'll be able to talk to them. When I was in Dubai, which is a big time shift, there was always somebody online to talk with. The guys are putting a lot of work in. This fork is not a small feat, but it's years of collecting feedback from potential customers, folks who utilize the system, on what they would like to see, and to see that now all coming to fruition, to see the foundation being done to get that all up and running. It's a milestone by itself. The guys are selling themselves a lot shorter there. Being able to get in front of enterprise customers that can actually use this now with confidence, not having to worry about all the compliancy pieces. It's all done. They're ready to rock and roll. Because I saw somebody was asking. I know Dan was at a massive meeting last week, I think, where he got positive feedback from a massive player. I'm not going to disclose what branch or whatever.
No, we're not going to say who it is, but I will say it's as massive as they come. It's as large as you can imagine. So, I think the tides are shifting very quickly to where DPIN will absolutely be a necessity in moving forward for larger business companies that want to source compute resources. We've got an energy crisis happening in the U.S. right now. We need to be able to basically disperse. Somebody just wanted to build a multi-billion-dollar data center, and the town revolted, and they ended up having to withdraw that. That's going to be everywhere, guys. I don't hide it. I like Trump's policies. Him as a person, I don't know, but I like his policies, and I understand he wants to expedite the being able to build data centers with less regulatory scrutiny. Problem is it's still going to get residential scrutiny. And that's what it comes down to. The only way to move forward and truly scale the way that we anticipate is through a DPIN product like Flux. So I think we're hitting our stride right now.
Absolutely. I think so. A lot of work has been done, and it's coming to fruition now.
Yep.
I'll say this, though. The company that I've been talking with, and that Dan ultimately now talked with as well, as a kid, I never imagined even working with these folks. Ever. But here we are. So
dreams do come true, Davey. Dreams do come true.
Yep.
All right, we're way over time. So thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you. Repost, share, give us information. We'll post all that information in Discord today. Davey will drop the PowerPoint and the financial projections with Flux Drive. So you guys will be able to access that later this afternoon. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. We surely do appreciate you. And without further ado, Davey, play us out.
Will do. I'll be on the Discord in the chat. So if you guys want to ask good questions or you want to ask me straight away, I'll be right there and we'll go from there. But now, see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
JP.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you a story. I'm on a Nimbus. I'm in the Stratis. Come check my status. What the Flux is going on? I'm on the Nimbus. I'm in the Stratis. Come check my status. What the Flux is going on? I'm on the Nimbus. I'm in the Stratis. Come check my status. What the Flux is going on? I am fluxing on them now. I'm fluxing on them proud. I'm fluxing on them now. I'm fluxing on them proud. I'm in the Nimbus. Come check my status. What's my status? What the F is going on? I'm in the Nimbus. Come check my status. What's my status? I'm fluxing on them now. 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 I'm fluxing on them proud. What the flux is this? We going to the moon. Can I tell you something? Layer 1, layer 2, this is humongous. Decentralized, so we keep it 100. 10,000 nodes, yeah, we building an army. Flex on them now like it don't mean nothing. We an army and we strong. I'm on the Nimbus. I'm in the Stratis. Come check my status. Come check my status. What the Flux is going on? What the Flux is going on? But the Flux, we are so strong. We are army and we strong. And we strong.